anything for events this week that we should be?
No, farmer's market is every Saturday.
Okay, nothing else that came through, okay. Good evening, this evening's agenda, we've got Mr. Coffey at 6, and we have non-public sessions starting at 6:30, so we're gonna please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the meeting, I just want to thank the residents of New Ipswich and the various outside participants that came for the Memorial Day event this past Sunday. Many of them do it on a volunteer basis, and we'd like to express our sincere gratitude to them. Mr. Coffey.
Yes, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
The reason I'm here is, you probably don't even realize it, but in 1991, and I believe that's the year, sometime in the springtime, I got appointed by the Board of Selectmen upon the recommendation of the Planning Board to be a delegate to the Southwest Regional Planning Commission. I'm still a delegate to the Southwest Regional Planning Commission. The terms are 3 years, but if they fail to make a new appointment, the person serving just continues to serve. So I can't recall whether or not they ever reappointed me, but anyway, I did serve in the late 90s for 3 years as the chairman of the Board of Directors. And I've been fairly active most of the time. I am a member of the Board of Directors and a delegate. You no longer have 2 delegates. The other one dropped out a long time ago. And what I'm really here to ask is that you consider having 2 delegates. And in talking to the people at the Regional Planning Commission, if one of those delegates wanted to be a member of the Board of Directors, that could be made to happen very easily, which I think is good for the town and good for this area. We're at the far end of the region that's covered by them. Although on the Board of Directors, there's presently somebody from Peterborough and Temple, but in the past that was kind of sketchy. So that's really what I'm here to ask you to do, is to find 2 people. You don't have to find them right away, okay? Sometimes it takes time. You can appoint somebody to be a delegate at any time. And then it's a 3-year term. I would have the term coincide with the end of the fiscal year of the Regional Planning Commission, which is June 30th. But if we could find somebody to replace me, and if they were interested in serving on the Board of Directors, that would be great. They meet once a month, but they usually take a sabbatical in the summer. And I'm gonna put a little note together that basically states that I no longer, I'm able to do this. It's time somebody else did it. I've enjoyed it, it's been good, and it's 99% of the time it's positive, because you're trying to bring people and functions together so that we all benefit. So it's usually not a divisive type thing. And you do learn a lot about the region and the economy of the region and what's going on. So, I think it's a positive thing if somebody's interested.
In order to entice someone, plural, give us what's a typical meeting? What do they do? What occurs at these monthly meetings?
A monthly meeting basically goes through a lot of the internal business of the commission, what the commission's doing. I mean, it's a quasi-governmental agency, so it has to function within certain rules, because it's getting government money, gets money from the federal government, the state government, and obviously from the towns. And, but typically what they do is, they would go through the various projects that the commission's working on, and contracts. They have a lot of contracts with outside vendors. It's pretty much a self-sufficient thing. Most of the money does not come from membership dues. It comes from federal and state grant money. And so basically, you're going through these contracts, and then you gotta look at the budget, where we are, and that sort of thing. It's an oversight committee. There are times when they will bring somebody in who is a specialist in a particular area that you're gonna be looking at, that may give a brief presentation on the subject. But they tend to look at economic development, transportation, I would say conservation, land protection. Those are some of the three major things that they look at. So I mean, you have economic development on one hand, and you have trying to do it without wrecking the place on the other hand. So there's an element of that, you know, kind of a balancing act. So I found it quite interesting.
Is the town required to have one? Does every town have a delegate?
If you don't send one, you don't have one, okay? I guess my view is, I think it's good to have one, because then some of the goals or ideas of the town can be represented.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good. I'm just,
No, I
I'm
understand.
being
And quite
inquisitive.
frankly, in the last 2 years, I've attended some stuff, I've helped with a few things. Prior to that, when I was a state rep, I was able to assist them with things that were happening, you know, in the legislature. And, you know, and before that, maybe I was more active as a delegate. But I really think it's time to get, you know, to get somebody in there with a fresh look. And
Yep, understood.
I'm getting older,
Older.
more mature.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay, so if, you know, I guess one of the things I wanted to say is if somebody's interested, they can give me a call. Their annual meeting is coming up in June. And what they do at the annual meeting is they basically have a slate of people nominated for the board of directors. And there usually isn't a lot of political infighting. It's like, can we get somebody? So if we could, if I knew something in you know, fairly quickly, we could get somebody, you got them appointed, we can get them on the nominating slate.
Well, we're
Because
gonna-
they want somebody from the Whipswich, so that's the key. And that's it.
Mr. Visa will be at the next planning board hearing, and he'll bring it up there, see if there's anyone on the planning board that would be
Would it be
interested.
helpful if I showed up?
Probably not.
Okay, good. I appreciate
No,
it,
when
honestly.
no, I'm only kidding.
I had one tour in the planning board and
Yeah, maybe, and that
I
way
still
there,
got scars.
if they have questions, like I'm asking, you know, you'd be right
I mean,
there.
I would be happy to show
Yeah.
up.
Is that
When is
the
it?
Yes, that's the 6th.
June 6th, 7:30?
What day
When
of the
they
week is
start.
June
It's a
6th?
Wednesday.
Yeah, I can make that. Yeah, I'd be happy to show up, and then they would make, it might be too late to get somebody on the,
Yeah,
you know, because they have to make a recommendation and you have to approve it. You gotta do these things at meetings,
yeah.
okay?
Would you ask Debbie if she can get that on the agenda?
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank
And
you
thank you
very
for serving.
Yeah, 27 years, it's a long time to do
Yeah.
anything.
I thought you'd go for the 30-year mark, but hey,
No, I mean, I'm not trying to hit some particular,
What were you doing in 1991?
91, I was a roofer back in 91. I wasn't serving on a board at that time.
I got lured into it by Mary Jane Grasty,
Hmm.
who was chairman of the planning board and was serving as the chairman of their board. And then
Good.
So anyway, I spent a 3-year tour as their chairman too. So, and it was, and I would say this to anybody that would be interested in doing it, you know, if subject matter interests you, it's a good positive experience. Thank you
very
much,
good, thank you.
And have a great evening.
Well,
You too.
hang on, Jim, while we've got Mr. Coffey here. Did you have a chance to discuss the fire brigade building with anyone else in the?
Not in any great depth. I could mention, yeah, it was a brainstorming idea. The town gave the building to the New Ipswich Antique Fire Brigade.
No, we sold it.
Huh?
We sold it
We
to them
sold it, well, yeah,
We sold it?
for $1.
yeah. And,
Not a lease.
no, you sold it, but we can't, but if we fail to, if we don't function anymore, you get it back.
And if
Okay?
you decide you don't want the building, the town has first refusal as well.
Yeah. So, what we're really looking at, or we were brainstorming, and I don't take this as a proposal of any kind, just an idea, is should this antique fire brigade own it, okay? The equipment in it belongs to the town, we all know that. The two pieces of apparatus in there belong to the town. So we form a private organization to take care of a garage to house two pieces of equipment the town owns. I think there's some of us that think that the town should own the whole thing and maybe lease it for $1, or, you know, the town should have a little more control of the selectmen. Yeah, after, at some point in time, we're gonna try this spring to get the building finished, scraped, bad clapboards replaced, and completely painted. We have the paint.
Have they started?
Not yet, well, they power washed it last year, but we've gotten a couple of estimates so far. And the thing is, the town can insure it for a fraction of what we can. You know, to add it to your policy with Primex would be, you know, almost invisible. To us, it becomes a big thing. You should be insuring your equipment, your apparatus, because it does have value. Maybe not utilitarian value, but it certainly has value in a sense. So it was just something we were kicking around, and,
The reason I brought it up, because the Heritage Committee we were discussing last week, and Jim was there, about some priorities. Town Hall is number one, and then there's a real interest in that building because of history behind it, because it was a fire station, it was a police station.
selectmen met there.
The selectmen, so it's building that town's had for a long time, and the Heritage Committee was trying to,
It could be done up really cool.
it really could,
Okay?
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, what it was the lean-to wasn't there in the beginning. You had some barn doors, you had a meeting room with a hardwood floor upstairs and a wood stove. Okay, I mean, this was it. And the hand pumper that's in the Historical Society was in that building. So that building has served as a fire station from 1860 when they got the hand pumpers. I assume it was in that building, okay? 1928, they got the fire truck and got rid of the hand pumpers. That's a long span of time for some equipment. And I'm not sure when that thing ceased to be a fire station, but my guess is well after World War II, okay? A long time after.
So what's your intent?
Our intent is to try to expand the group and to fix the building up and work on the equipment and to continue to function. But, you know, some of us think it's stupid for the town not to own the building.
I don't know how that whole process
I
happened,
think I know how it happened.
but let's not go there. There's
Leave it
three
alone.
things that I'd like to
We should go forward.
address with you and with the board. Number one, the Wachusett inside there. Mr. Carolinen has told me that they are trying to find someone, and if I get this incorrect, don't quote me, but my understanding is it's the shaft on the water pump that has disintegrated, and they're trying to find someone that can either make another one or fix that one. And he was saying it would cost like probably $500. I don't know that. Was it the responsibility of the fire brigade when that was given to them to repair? Or was the town still responsible? Do you know?
The town owned the equipment. Our goal was to try and preserve and take care of it. And I don't wanna go too far with it.
Yeah.
We thought in the beginning that we would get great assistance and cooperation from the fire department, and we got none. But that's back then.
You're
okay?
correct.
I don't
Yep.
wanna go to, that's not the present, that's back then. As far as who would cough up money, if something needed to be fixed, and some of the things did get fixed on the Wachusett and on the hand pump. And it was done with money raised by the Antique Fire Brigade. We had copies of the town history reprinted, and we did things like that, and we raised some money. So yes, we have made some repairs.
Okay.
But we're at a point now where we only got a handful of people, we need to get more people involved. It can be a real fun thing to do.
Well, in speaking with Chief Lund, she has told me they have people that are volunteering. She spoke with Dave Carolinen about it. He had said at this time they didn't need anyone. But I would like them to get involved, whether he needs them or not.
Have somebody from there contact me.
Why don't you contact Chief Lund?
Okay. I can do
She'll
that.
give you the names of the gentlemen that were interested.
Because, yeah. I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Johnson, you had a question, a comment?
Statement, I've looked into the actual deed itself when I was a member of this board, and the agreement is crystal clear that the Wachusett and the hand pump are to be maintained by the fire brigade under the agreement when they bought the building.
But maintained, and who's paying the cost for it? That's the difference. And I'm looking
So,
at it that if it's
The
a
owns
town-owned,
it, but the fire brigade was to maintain it.
right,
So,
and
however
they,
you define that,
yeah, okay,
But
I'm
let's-
clear.
But the word maintain means sometimes to keep it in the status quo.
correct.
We talk about restoration, and we've tried to do that, so we've tried to live up to it.
And like, I know the Carolinans, both of them, both of the Daves, do work on it and maintain it, and, you know,
And
that's
I have-
all,
And I'm not
Appreciate
here,
it,
I'm
yeah.
not here to ask the town to pay for $500 to replace the shaft of the pump. I think that.
you're not, but when I
Somebody else
asked Dave about it, and he says, well, you know, that's what it's gonna cost, and as if though they didn't have the money for it, and I'm saying, well, I'll present it to the board and see if they want to.
I would rather, me personally, I would rather see the money to restore and maintain those pieces of equipment come from private sources, or come from donations, come from a fundraiser. That's me personally.
Well, you're involved with that group,
Yes,
can you assemble them and find out if that's a possibility? Because the one thing that was disheartening for the last couple of years is, I know I've made the request to them, can we get that thing up and running so we can have it in, say, the Memorial Day Parade?
well, the pump, yeah,
I'm talking the Wachusett fire
Yeah.
truck. And every year we have the parade and it's not there. And, and this
Okay.
year here, they told me what was wrong with it and why it couldn't go, but it'd be nice to get it fixed so that you could, it's
I will look
it's a
into it.
relic for the
I
town.
will look into it. There's only a handful of us left. Some of the people have died off.
Can you let me know when that meeting is? I'd like to attend it.
Yeah. I will get together with, he's not here.
Fourth selectman.
He's the other member.
Yeah.
Dave, were you looking for
We're
a
down.
motion to spend $500 to fix that
Mm.
shaft on that thing?
I didn't need a motion, just a discussion to say, if it comes to the point that they don't have the funds,
Right,
should the town,
I think so.
yeah. But we can go your route first, and if not, just let us know. Second
It'd
question
be nice to have this
is,
thing running sometime by the end of summer, as a goal.
Dave's goal was to get it by July 4th, I think.
Yeah, well, that, okay.
So, at one time, you had stated to me that the town owned the clock.
Yes.
Anything that, because we have no paperwork to say that, so if you had something that you
I
can
can find
forward
it.
to
I
us,
know where to look for it.
good,
The town clerk's records,
okay,
because the town voted to accept it at a meeting,
okay.
okay?
What was the year?
Along with the bell in the congregational church, and the town has a responsibility to ring it.
Give us the paperwork, we would find that very interesting reading.
It was
Okay.
around 1903 or 4 or 5, and it was known as Emma Tucker's, the name of the woman that put this thing together was Emma Tucker.
Now, that's the bell,
And it
right?
was the bell, and it was known as Emma Tucker's ticker. I gotta say this slowly, So anyway, it's something I read.
Yeah.
It does go back to an annual meeting of around 1900, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. And I believe I saw it in the annual report.
Well, John was telling us that there's a plaque there that says it's,
Actually, on the bell, it says that the bell was actually donated to the town of New Ipswich.
So, the clock, when did the town supposedly take possession of that?
Over a century ago.
The one, we're talking, no,
Oh,
on
the
Main Street,
bell.
yeah, the clock, not the bell, the clock.
Over a century ago.
Are we in the same building? I'm talking the, community church, not the congregational. I'm under the impression we own the clock tower on the church on Main Street. That's, I think, was David's question,
Yeah.
correct?
We own, and I'm just doing this from recollection. We own the clock, for sure, okay? We have an obligation to maintain the structure that holds it. Obviously, it's got a lot of weight, okay?
Is that written down somewhere?
that's what I'd like to get my, so, because we gotta move on, we
Right.
got other things scheduled.
Yeah.
But, I'll stop by and we can take a look in the clerk's records or the old town reports. We have them from 1900, 1901, 1902, 3. So if we look in there, I think we'll find them. Because it was a vote of the town to accept it.
I'm more curious about the clock than I am the bell, to be honest.
The bell can stay where it is. We're not gonna run up there and ring the bell at 2 in the morning.
We're
Clock
actually,
can stay
we're
there
actually
too, I'm just-
working with someone to try to get the mechanical drive fixed on that, so that we can set up a timer to have it ring at certain times.
There is, and maybe you already have somebody, but there's a gentleman up in I think it's Goffstown, who's an expert, absolute expert, and he's been a selectman up there for many years too. I can get you his name too. He is very good at those types of parts.
How is his life insurance paid up real well? Reason being is we've had three people go up and look at it. Luckily, this gentleman that we've had most recently, no issues, but we've had 3 other people look at it, and all 3 of them have passed away not too long after looking at it.
Okay, let's,
Move
move
along.
along.
I will get you his name.
That'd be great.
I did work with him for another town that owned a clock in a church a multi-sided clock in which he redid the whole thing, okay?
Okay, thank you, Jim. Let's move on. We're running behind.
See.
Go up there and, I was up there years ago when I was a kid.
One thing I want to let the community know is we received notification from Southwest Regional Planning that they will be continuing the mapping of our drainage and stream crossings in town. So if you see their vehicle, they are labeled. The vehicle is golden color and has a logo and government license plate, so just to make everybody aware. Can I presume you're Mr. Darcy?
I am.
Okay, we're gonna have a non-public from 6:30 to 6:45. Would you mind waiting right out in the foyer? That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment before you go into non-public session, in regards to, information regarding the fire brigade and the Wachusett and the hand pumper. The agreement for the deed is in Joanne's office, so it may answer some of your questions.
Good,
Thank you.
good.
And that truck is under the liability insurance. And it's because when I had it registered a year and a half ago, we made sure that it was under the policy.
Yeah.
Motion to go into non-public under 91A3, Section C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public rights.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.